This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and I have for you today 8 stories in the queue from yesterday, stories you deemed as conversational, and we'll explain how that worked out in a bit. But these are stories that cover a gambit of topics: information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. Today, we talk about some Katy Perry, some Elon Musk, and singing some happy birthday wishes, blowing out some candles for Arnold Schwarzenegger today, plus many more things as well. As I said, the vetting process, we'll explain it in a bit, and we'll tell you just what we do. But if you want to check us out anytime you want to, go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com and see what we do, how we do it, and where we do it at all over the place. Plus, you can email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Let us know how we can do things a little bit better or sometimes a little bit less worse, because sometimes it really is about being less worse than more better. Today is, of course, Tuesday, July the 30th, 2024. As we said, 8 news headlines. No particular order as they're presented here, but we'll give you some context to how they laid out over the course of the day. The top stories, some of the top stories from the day we chose from to give you to this morning. Starting off with a pretty big story. And Brandon is showing off his flair now that he's not running for president anymore, which is weird. But here's what happened with Mr. Joe. Joe Biden unveils a proposal to establish term limits for Supreme Court. He's unveiled, that's President Joe Biden, unveiled a proposal aimed at reforming the U.S. Supreme Court. The plan includes establishing term limits for justices and implementing an ethics code, an official one that he actually must stand by, not one they're going to self-police. Biden criticized what he termed as extremism within the court, which he believes has eroded public trust in the judicial system. This proposal marks a significant move in response to growing concerns about the court's politicization, big word I can't say, and lifelong tenure of its justices. Now, as I said, Brandon's sort of showing some flair these days now that he's not running for president, and now he has to really sync up and shore up his legacy. And now that he's technically a lame duck with 6 months left to go, he can pull off some things or try to pull some things off that maybe he could not pull off before. We shall see. Headline number 2 for this morning. Russia is relying on unwitting Americans, that's us, to spread election disinformation, U.S. officials say. Top U.S. intelligence officials are saying that Russia, China, and Iran are actively targeting Americans, the voters themselves, us people who are, should be in the process paying attention, with disinformation and propaganda campaigns. These efforts aim to influence the 2024 U.S. presidential election and more, actually. And they've been specifically noted by using unwitting Americans to spread election information, often through social media and fake news websites. The intent is to undermine public confidence in the election process and create political discord. So, as we know, or we news nerds here know, it's really important to know where your information is coming from and how it's getting disseminated. And yes, I say this often as my disclaimer. We talk about the stories we post here and the headlines from where they come from. And some of them are a bit sketchy, but they're there for a point to get the conversation going, get people chatting things up. However, if you cover a wider range of different sort of sources, you know what they're doing and you get an idea of how they're playing things out and what's happening. And that's what's going on here. People get their news from single sources, some of them literally crazy people on the internet, and because they say what they want to hear, are the biggest people spreading those crazy people internet lies and innuendo, which makes it harder to get actual truth out to folks. And for some reason, because we're humans and because we're Americans, we tend to believe it. Our third story for this morning. FDA approves a new blood test to screen for colon cancer. The FDA has approved a new blood test called Shield, developed by Guardant Health for colorectal cancer screening. The blood test offers a non-invasive alternative to traditional colonoscopies, which many patients find uncomfortable or unable to undergo due to various reasons. The Shield test detects biomarkers associated with colorectal cancer, providing convenient screening options for adults age 45 and older. The approval is expected to increase the screening rates and aid in early detection, potentially reducing the mortality rate from colorectal cancer. As a person who got my first colonoscopy this year, I can tell you it really wasn't all that uncomfortable going through it because I was knocked out of sleep, but getting to the process, plus the process of just my hospital being kind of bad at things, was kind of an ordeal. Something that's a lot less evasive, lots more simpler, and deals a lot less of the funny stuff will be great going forward for me and for anyone who's a little afraid of getting this thing done. Let's be petty for a bit. Let's go to story number 4 this morning. That is former NRA leader LaPierre Wayne LaPierre has his name. Put respect to his name as we tell you he gets 10-year ban from serving in NRA and affiliates. The former leader of the NRA, that's Wayne LaPierre, has been banned from the organization for 10 years following controversies and legal battles. The decision was made in light of numerous allegations against LaPierre, including misuse of funds and unethical conduct during his tenure. This ban marks a significant move by the NRA. It distanced itself from the issues that has plagued itself with the organization under the leadership of LaPierre's term. Now, what's really kind of ironic about this, Wayne LaPierre brought the NRA to a prominence in the last 20 years that no one could basically fight. Basically, NRA was running the show in most cases. You had to go through the NRA folks. Whether you were for guns or against guns, you had to battle the NRA, and they have to put your stamp of approval on what you wanted, period. Once they found out that the chief in charge was basically stealing money and just being a bad dude, that bad looked bad for conservatives who tried to put up the front face of being good people. The front face. We see a lot of things that actually don't really show that real effort. So LaPierre, 10 years banned from the NRA. What's going to do for that stuff? He's already working for some other lobby for guns, so who cares about that stuff? But for the official big one, no more LaPierre, or at least no more for 10 years. This is a story that I texted immediately to my wife when I saw this one, because my daughter, JJ, was a big lover of Katy Perry back when she was like 3. And we had to wake up every single morning and listen to this playlist of Katy Perry because it was, Firework and Roar and all these things like that. Katy Perry now apologizes to parents everywhere for her music now that she's raising a child. She's seen the light. She's coming out. She's coming to get some mea culpas from us. Katy Perry has recently apologized to parents for her racy content of her earlier music. In a lighthearted interview, the reflection shows how her perspectives have changed after becoming a mother herself. Perry acknowledged that the time of the times, or the sometimes, some of her songs might have been entirely inappropriate for young listeners, including her own daughter. She humorously noted that she didn't fully realize the impact of her lyrics until hearing them through her child's ears. Like, listen to a child, listen to them and go, wow, 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 maybe they should be listening to this. Side note, I had a friend when my wife was going through her cancer treatments. She got me hooked up to go see Katy Perry. Her brother was a sound guy and light guy for Katy Perry, so got to hook up. And I was going to take my daughter JJ, but because she was still like 7 at the time, and I was really weirded out by taking kids to large arenas with public bathrooms, I ended up taking my wife, and it ended up being a time for her to get out there and hear her and enjoy that. And it was a great experience. And one of her things she did back then, and I think she does it now, is she brings out a kid, like a 12-year-old or something like that, because kids are at the other stuff, and she does a little thing with them, whatever, while she is walking around with, lights flashing on her boobs and things like that. So yeah, it took having a child to realize that some of the things she was doing was a little bit over the top for children, but the kiddies loved it. And, JJ loved it too. Now she's in her sort of dark goth fade, so we're just kind of working through that one. But that's my therapy session, I guess. Story number 6 for this morning. Elon Musk accuses Google of election interference over Trump autocomplete results. Wrong mouse. That mouse. Elon Musk has accused Google of interfering in the upcoming elections by manipulating autocomplete results to be biased against President Donald Trump. Musk made more allegations in a series of posts on X, formerly Twitter, suggesting that Google is influencing search suggestions by suppressing positive content about Trump and highlighting negative information. Maybe there's a lot more negative information than positive information. Ever thought about that? Robot editor continues. In response, Google has denied these accusations, stating that its autocomplete features is designed to avoid showing predictions that could be interpreted as biased or political, and that the feature is working as intended, i.e., all the things that's shown about Donald Trump actually have to do with Donald Trump. It's not biased. It's not political because it's not meant to be biased political, although it is a robot. But it is pulling up things that people are actually talking and asking about, like all the not so great things that he does. Thank you, Elon. Story number 7. McDonald's same-store sales fall, that's what the word says, for the first time since the pandemic profit slides of 12%. McDonald's is reporting a second quarter earnings for 2024, revealing that flat revenues of $6.5 billion, just below Wall Street's expectations of $6.6 billion. So it's in range, but not quite there. The quarter marked the first time since 2020 McDonald's experienced a decline in same-store sales, where it dropped by 1% compared to the previous year. The company diluted its earnings per share that fell down to 2.8 or $2.80, down 11 cents from last year's quarter of this time. The declines for McDonald's noted there was a slight increase in consolidation of revenues by about 1%, a constant in currencies going around the world. Now, the biggest thing about McDonald's fast food altogether is that it costs too much. Even though pandemic days were behind us, the inflation cost, even to cover the cost of what was going on at the time, not making up for the costs that are up now for the times. And yes, some of that is dealing with, increased fast food workers and trying to add more value to people working without having to be pushed by the government. But it costs way too much to get to a fast food restaurant and get a regular meal. A regular lunch is at average $11, $12, not $5, $6. And the $5 meals aren't selling very well. It just aren't. McDonald's has an issue. They all have an issue. Or do we all just have an issue with the fact that money is not what it used to be these days and value is not what it is at all? That's a bigger issue that we need to kind of talk about going forward. And finally, the jig is up as bosses admit that the return to office mandates were meant to make staff quit. This story is from Fox Business, so they sort of have a push on this one. Although Fox Business and Fox News folks are one of the bigger people who wanted people to get back to work, so touche. A recent survey conducted by Bamboo HR reveals that approximately 1/4 of bosses admitted to implementing return to office policies, RTOs, if you will, the mandates that were intended to make people actually stop working for their companies. This approach followed a trend over about 2 years where employees who favored remote work were encouraged to have to come back to the office, or do that, technically leave their job and just go someplace else. That was sort of the ploy if they didn't want to come back to the office. The requirement was there, and the choice was come back into our office or go work for somebody else wherever. It was reportedly used to address workforce reduction without directly laying off employees. So the issue was not so much, we need y'all here for camaraderie. The issue was, we really need to fire some people, and we don't want to have the cojones to actually get it done right. So maybe if we tell you you have to come do something you don't want to do, you'll quit on your own. In many cases, it actually did work. We're at our teaser story right now. This is a story that we are teasing up for tomorrow. This is a story that we may talk about tomorrow if you deem it worthy. The teaser story for yesterday, it was actually the story about the local SWAT teams finding out and watching and texting about the shooter in the Donald Trump assassination attempt 2 hours earlier. We didn't use that, just discretion of things going on. It was in the range, but we didn't use that one for discretion of other stories. It happens. Today, we're putting up this one to see if you want to get into, and this one will probably be posted. We're a little late recording the thing today, so by the time we get this, if you're watching it live, it's probably out there right now. Republican Arizona mayor endorses Harris, rebukes Trump, quote, choosing country over party. We have a story that's also in the queue. You'll probably post it by the time you see this, about white guys, white dudes, white males for Kamala. It's something like that. White guys, famous white guys got on a Zoom call and raised $3.5 million. That's not the teaser story, but we can talk about that one if you check that one up as well. But here's a deal where a Republican governor in Arizona, a Republican mayor in Arizona, is saying he's down with Harris because it's got to go with the future. Arizona has history with Trump, and the history is not so great. Just isn't. And a lot of people in Arizona wish he would go away. So this Arizona mayor is trying to help by endorsing Kamala Harris, saying make Trump go away. Do you want to talk about this story tomorrow? It's a USA Today story, article. USA Today headline and article, so you just engage in it as you need to. Engagement is simple as I said it. Go to our links, go to our pages, go to our feeds on Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter. On X, formerly known as Twitter, we are th_conversation. On Facebook, go to This is the Conversation Project, and you will see us, stories we post every 50 minutes or so, news articles that you can engage in, and you simply read them. Click on the little emoji face that you see there. Share them with friends and family. Get involved into them. Read them again. And the more you engage in the story, the better chance you have to talk about tomorrow. We take about the top 15 stories of a day. We get a little bit over 30 in a day's worth of time and give them to you, 8 of them in this broadcast here. 8 of them that sort of work the narrative. That's why the sniper story was in range for being a good and responsive story. But by discretion, we went with some other things. Hopefully we picked the right stories. You let us know by emailing us as well and engaging stuff. If you just overly click the thing so hard that we can't ignore it, we won't ignore it. But if it's somewhere in the middle of the pack, we'll do our best to make it work. It's that simple. Your engagement gives us the stories for the next iteration, that being tomorrow. From the top 15 stories for today, Tuesday, tad bit of Wednesday, we will give you 8 stories in Wednesday's edition. Let's talk about buying stuff, buying pretty stuff, buying nice stuff, buying a beautiful chess set or a nice chess set that isn't looking cheesy from the Chess Store. The Chess Store has been one of our sponsors for quite a while now, basically as long as we've been doing these videos, and a bit longer since I've used them for affiliate links for newsletters and whatnots. The Chess Store is something that has been a big thing in our family, as daughter JJ, who's getting a second mention, maybe third mention in the day, is a big chess nut. And when she found her way into our chess club that Miss Georgia at our church runs for free for kids who any kid that shows up gets some chess lessons, it is a great thing to learn. The CPR Chess Club teaches how to use chess for critical thinking and for essentially working way through problems. That's one way chess does that. And doing it with a very beautiful, nice looking chess set makes it so much better. We are going to get a beautiful, nice looking chess set. So once we get the house settled and get some space issues taken care of. And so we're eyeing things as they have new models every day, but they have replications of various historical chess sets, replications of various chess sets that are just beautiful ones out there, and some nice ones you wouldn't expect, made out of glass, made out of wood, made out of various other materials, metal as well, and also plastic travel sets that aren't ugly. There's the thing. You can take your travel chess with you to the airport, roll it out, play some chess in the lobby, have people kind of do the wandering eye thing, seeing what's going on, and look good doing it. Check it out at the Chess Store using our affiliate link. This is theconversationproject.com/the Chess Store. This is theconversationproject.com/the Chess Store, and the Chess Store will take good care of you with great prices, great product, and take care of us with a small commission from your stepping into the store. Check them out today at the Chess Store. Conversation Project lives online at this. It's conversationproject.com. We are doing what we can to provide more new stuff. You're going to see and hear, if you're a long-time listener or a short-time listener for a while, you'll pick up on some things that will sound much different, look a little different in the next couple days, literally as we're trying some new things. Based on the algorithms, if you will, for lack of a better term, based on the algorithms, we're changing things up. We're doing things differently, and we're going to do some things that may seem more classic back in the days when we didn't know what we're doing, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what stuck. And now we're going back to some of those things because we're going to liven the place up a little bit, make it more fun, make it more festive, go back to the more news nerd style of stuff. No, we won't do the lyric of the day because that just got weird, but we will do more things that are going to focus on just general news stuff. And even though we're in politics season, political season, we're going to have plenty of that because it's general news. But we want to make sure you're getting some of the stories that are basically getting missed out in the process. It is what's important to us. It's hard to do all the news. It's hard to do any news without being overrun by Trump, Harris, Biden, Vance these days. But we do our best to do that. So if you want to help us out with this mission, check out our website. This is theconversationproject.com, where you can see all the things we do, where we do it, how we do it, and a bit of our backstory on why we do it. You can also go by our sponsors page and visit a sponsor that you like, and they will take care of us with commissions. Consider becoming a partner, partnering up to us directly by funding the operation, being one of our partners, and that puts you as part of the board of directors. You get more insights daily, essentially, these days it's daily, as I'm basically crying about something going on, what we're changing, what we're not changing, what we're considering, and you guys get the first shot at what we can do to fix things. And if you don't want to pay up for that one, do the free stuff. The most important things, the money is good. The money is great. We need it to keep things going. Labor of love, but a labor, as you say. But do the free things. Engage with us on our feed so we know what stories to talk about. That's what makes us think interesting. And email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. And that way we can conversate with you about what's going on. You don't have to pay anything. We will take all consideration for all inputs going forward. The news is in, the business is done. It is time for the fun stuff. It is time for things you might ought to know for Tuesday, July 30th, 2024. As we move our way into quickly through the third quarter, it is amazing how fast this thing goes. July has been a blast, and oddly enough, going sidebar, relatively cool. The heat is coming back. We had a coolish July, although we had the hottest temperature ever last week or something like that. And then we had a very warmish June. And so August is going to be terrible, and terrifying. Terrible. That's not a word for the days, but we'll see more about that one. But let's talk about this guy right here seeing in the video feed. It is his birthday. Happy birthday to Papa Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is 77 years old on the day. The governor, the big time State Farm guy, you know, what was his thing? You know, it's like a good neighbor. Bringing out Agent State Farm, trying to move things up and stay relevant. His political run was actually fairly good, although it did end with him divorcing his wife, Shriver, over, dilly-dallying, stuff like that. And, of course, he couldn't run for president, so that basically ran things up, so went back to doing movies with Sly Stallone. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, American icon, a world icon, turning 77 years old on the day today. Uncle Laurence Fishburne, turning 63 years old on the day. He would have got the top spot except for the other two people here. Laurence Fishburne, very, very esteemed actor of all sorts of films, all sorts of genre, very big stage guy. And I will say this, I'll admit this, freaked me out a bit in his first sort of thing that really caught my attention, which was School Days with Spike Lee. Of course, the fact that it was a musical was what really freaked me out about that one. The whole thing was just sort of oddball. But for Laurence Fishburne, doing so many things in so many ways, 63 in a day, and Auntie Vivica A. Fox. If it weren't for Arnold getting the top billing, Auntie Vivica always gets top billing on this day, but we went for Arnold today at 77. So sorry, Auntie. But Vivica A. Fox, who's done everything and is everywhere, and right now, killing it in Hallmark movies because she can, and selling people auto car insurance or warranties because she can. Sweetheart, honey, buy it from Vivica A. Vivica A. Fox, lovely Vivica A. Fox, Auntie Vivica, turning 60 years old on this 30th of July. Let's move on to history lessons, things that happened on this day, back. Going back to 75, starting off with the former Teamsters union president Jimmy Hoffa disappeared in suburban Detroit, though presumed dead because it has been, 50 years. His remains have never been found. No one knows what happened to Jimmy Hoffa, but he's 50 years older and probably dead. In 2021, new figures reported that 1 out of 169 Americans were employed by Amazon, making the company the second highest employer in the nation, the USA, behind Walmart, who hires 1 in 100. Oh, by the way, in 2022, an Ohio man quit his job as a teacher, take a job at Walmart that paid more. Walmart, the largest employer in the United States, and now one of the largest employers in the world. Our word for today, it's a simple word. It's a word you probably know, but let's do it anyway. Let's entertain that, as the word today is entertain. To hold the attention of pleasantly or agreeability. Divert. Amuse. Poorly read, but here's I'm reading the word for the day in a sentence. To celebrate her birthday, she decided to entertain her friends with a themed dinner party that included games and live music. Hold the attention of pleasantly and agreeability. I'm sure I'm lost points on that one, but that is your word of the day, entertain. I entertain that you would use that word as many times as possible in sentences today. That should be your goal. Let's talk about affirmations. Let's get some positivity going on. And this is one that makes me feel good because I just butchered those words. So let me read this one. This one is a bit of a slog in words, but let it work for you. I let go of any negative feelings about myself or my life, and I accept all that is good. I let go of any negative feelings about myself or my life, and I accept all that is good. This affirmation reduces stress and anxiety. By letting go of negative feelings, you can significantly reduce levels of stress and anxiety in your life. Positive affirmations like the encouragement of this affirmation to focus on your present and the good rather than dwelling on the past and worries and the future fears leads to more relaxed and peaceful state of mind for you right now, which helps you out in the future and will help you get over the past, feeling good right now. Try this affirmation. More affirmations are listed in my book called 100 Daily Affirmations for Positivity and Success. Actually, positive and confidence, but success can come as well. Go look for it on Amazon. There's a link in this presentation for you here, or just go click on, go to 100 Affirmations Pain. You shall see me pop up with the guy, old guy with the bearded face, looking all sovereign or whatever. Sovereign. That's the word. That's a word for the day. It should be coming up soon. Celebration. Let's get out of here with celebration. We've been doing this thing for quite a bit, so let's celebrate Cheesecake Day. National Cheesecake Day is on July 30th and offers a slice of one of America's favorite desserts. Order up a cheesecake with your favorite topping, get it delivered or make it at home. This is a smooth dessert. Hits the spot when the end of a meal rolls around. While most cakes have a crumb cheesecake texture, nothing is more like the cake. It indeed is creamy, thick, pudding-like consistency. With the character comes from soft cheese used to make as the main ingredient. Depending on your recipe, use a cream cheese, sometimes cottage cheese, it's going on there. But you can also mix in sugar, eggs, other things to make the batter just perfect. And if it's a graham cracker crust, chef's kiss. Alternate holidays, paperback book day, read a book with your cheesecake, and World Snorkeling Day. Snorkel before or after your cheesecake. Just give yourself 30 minutes because, swimming and things like that. That's it. We did it. We've made it. This has been Things You Might Not Have Heard and Things You Might Ought to Know for Tuesday, July the 30th, 2024. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. I thank you for being with us for the Shizos today. If you like us, let us know. Make sure you hit that like button or the happy emoji face or a thumbs up or the heart, wherever you're seeing this on the various different platforms. And be a dear and comment. Let us know where you're watching from and what we can do to improve in the comments. That would be great. Meantime, email us at conversationinbox@gmail.com. Also, visit us on our feeds on Facebook and X so we know what stories to talk about. Consider being a partner and just be a great person. Remember that life is great, even if your life doesn't feel so great at the moment. Love you guys. Mean it so much. We will see you in tomorrow's iteration. Stop our feeds to give us the stories to talk about, but we'll see you tomorrow.